Hello, my name is Eric Kulik, the Maskless Messiah, the cross-dressing Mormon. I've been banned yet again, less than half a day after coming back onto Facebook because of all the activism that I've done and the fact that the trolls who keep on coming back to my page can't handle what I've done to help humanity lately. You see, when it came to the whole COVID-19 mask mandate and all the vaccine stuff they've been requiring of us, I decided to take a stand for my immunological rights. When I was shopping in Instacart at the King Supers in Loveland, Colorado, I was approached by a manager, and the manager of that store, and he tried to get me to wear a mask. So I told him it was my immunological right to be exposed to germs for the production of antibodies, and that really Kroger had not been trained or funded for becoming some kind of health police, so it wasn't their responsibility or their right to do so. And for the sake of the business side of it all, that really was foolish for them to alienate customers and to risk lawsuits. I found out later on that manager did in fact go to corporate and bring my ideas to them, and they agreed. So only a few months into the mask mandate, they stopped officially enforcing it, and I helped therefore to get the states to loosen their restrictions sooner than they would have. And so for some reason, these people online have been really, really upset with this, and they slaughtered my account again on Friday, on Good Friday. And so here, this last hour of Easter Sunday, I've got this video to post by hopefully one of my friends. I can get them if they're still awake, for my resurrection on Facebook. So in the process here, I'd like to tell you more about how I got to where I'm at and why I've done what I've done. The Maskless Messiah thing, well, pretty new. It's just actually the latest in a pretty long line of activism things that I've done the past 20 years or so. The cross-dressing Mormon thing actually was the biggest thing that I did. I've done some cannabis activism too in the meantime, but the Mormonism has been a big part of my life. I grew up a Mormon, very believing as a child, but I disaffected in my adult years as a married Mormon man with children. And as a result of my crosses to church, because Mormon women receive death threats for wear pants to church day, my now ex-wife abducted our kids and moved them to Utah with the help of the Mormon church. And while I'm at university, because of my open displeasure with both the Democratic and Republican faces of the Dempublican Corporation, they started coming after me on campus when it came to smoking cannabis. I had been smoking every day for over a year. They were all walking by me, seeing it, smelling it. Heads of security, deans, president of the university, faculty, staff, professors, students, everybody. And they never had a word to say about it for over a year until the Mormons for Mitt put on a presentation, and I went in and informed them all that, yes, Mitt Romney wasn't as bad as they thought. He was just about as good as any other politician in the Democratic Party, but the problem was that they were all terrible because of things like TPP and drone bombing and the like. And so the very next day I was on campus, the assistant director of security came up to me and informed me that I couldn't smoke pot on campus. And so at some point after that, I had these undergrad students. They approached me because of my activism. I had a sign on my backpack with the same words, Google Cross-Dressing Mormon. And I had my guitar, and I'd be playing songs and smoking pot all the time. And so they asked to write an interview in the paper, the Willamette Collegian. And so they did, and these young ladies and other students were all staring at me and talking about me and inviting me into their little Facebook groups. And so I went in their Facebook group, and one of their friends, one of the students who had a really big crush on me, who was also an employee of the Bistro and an editor of that paper, she and I had become Facebook friends, and we were talking in one of these groups about how we needed to improve security. And they were talking about how they needed to spend more money, and I was trying to get them to brainstorm Well, it was Evan, the one who had the crush on me, who was trying to say that they should spend more money. And I guess by me suggesting brainstorming and similar things, she was taking offense, thinking I was telling her she was wrong. So after that, every time I saw her on campus, she was always shaking her head, like unfriended me and everything. And so I finally approached her after a couple times this happening and told her, like, I don't know what's happened, but, just leave me alone if this is how it's going to be. She ended up contacting the school and getting a no contact order. And so that I couldn't get in and be in the cafe where she worked, where I would do my classwork, and I have access to the internet and coffee and everything when I was trying to do my studies. And I refused to comply with that because I thought that was ridiculous, that I would have to be restricted from a part of campus, and I'm a full-paying student. And I approached the HR director, Jackie Balzer, and told her all about the evidence I had of these conversations that had taken place and how everything was just, a response to that. And she said, no, they had claimed that I was staring at them and that I would not be able to be in the same, room as them. So I resisted. The security was called on me. And eventually the school kicked me out for a Title IX harassment case against these girls, even though I never interacted with them after that. They didn't want to take it against me. The school went over their heads and did it anyway because they wanted to get rid of me. My political stances were far too serious of them to let just be. So they got rid of me. My cross was a church. I had a great time generally most of these services. The Mormons eventually did excommunicate me and assaulted and jailed me for showing up to my apostasy trial and refusing to leave until tried. And unfortunately, as a result of all that, I've been struggling to get by. I've been having to do a lot of delivery jobs, but thankfully the Instacart has allowed my activism to resume with the Maskless Messiah, Maskless Hero thing, getting folks to resist being told what to do just because an official doctor says so. So yeah, I've been through a lot here in these last few years. But I think a lot of people misunderstand who I am and why I do what I do. I really have always been concerned about other people. I've always cared about doing the right thing for others, even if it's not popular. So for them to think that this is all just for attention and popularity is pretty ridiculous, because there's any number of things I could have done to get attention for popularity's sake. I wouldn't have jeopardized my stance in the community by calling, the most popular political party, a singular party, and criticizing it so thoroughly. I've never been that kind of person to just want to get, the popular way, And so now here I am, still trying to fight for people to understand that we need to critically think. And my childhood prepared me for that. My childhood made me that kind of person. I went to private school, public school, private school, boarding school, public school, homeschool. Like I bounced in and out of so many different schooling types, and I've had so many different experiences that have made me really try to be concerned about other kinds of people and try to think about ways to help. As a Mormon child, I was always really, really encouraged to be like Jesus, and I always really looked up to him. My mom had told me since I was very young that I was in a vision before I was born for her, and that she couldn't have a child until this, and I was a special child for her. So I've always been very inspired to do the right thing to help others. And even my grandfather, he was friends with FDR, JFK, and Truman. He was called an invisible president. He in the New York Times, you can read Edward Loughlin calling for the fourth term of FDR. So, I've always had a lot of inspiration to do the right thing, and here I am, just doing what I'm compelled to do, and I'm willing to change my mind if anyone has any ideas, but no one has anything to say. They just get mad and they try to shout me down, and it just doesn't help. So please give me some inspiration. Please tell me what is going wrong, and maybe I can fix it. Thank you.